Hi everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the English for Life podcast. I'm Charlotte Kingsley, and today we're diving into a topic that hits home for so many of you: why you can understand English but still can't speak it fluently. If you've ever watched a movie and understood almost everything, or listened to someone speaking English and thought, "Yeah, I get it," but then, when it's your turn to speak, nothing comes out. This episode is for you. First of all, let me tell you this: you're not broken. This is one of the most common struggles for English learners all around the world. It's not because you're bad at languages or because your brain doesn't work fast enough. It's because of how your brain has been trained, and today, we're going to start changing that. Here's something fascinating about the brain: understanding and speaking are two completely different processes. When you're listening or reading, your brain is mostly in input mode. It recognizes words, patterns, and meaning. But when you want to speak, your brain switches to output mode, where it has to pull words from memory, organize them into sentences, and push them out in real time. Now, here's where the problem starts. Most learners train their input much more than their output. You spend hours watching movies, listening to podcasts, reading articles. And that's fantastic for comprehension. But if you rarely practice pushing words out of your mouth, your brain never gets good at the fast, automatic process of speaking. Think of it like this. Imagine you've watched thousands of basketball games. You know all the rules, all the plays, and every player's style. You understand the game perfectly. But if you've never actually stepped onto the court and practiced shooting, dribbling, or passing, could you suddenly play like a pro? Of course not. Understanding isn't enough. You need active practice to build speaking muscles. Another big reason why many people get stuck is mental blocking. When it's time to speak, your brain suddenly feels pressure. What if I make a mistake? What if they don't understand me? What if I sound stupid? These negative thoughts freeze your mouth even if you know the right words. And let's not forget about translation habits. Many learners first think in their native language, then try to translate word by word into English. This takes time, creates long pauses, and makes speaking feel painfully slow. Your brain isn't slow, it's just trying to do two jobs at once: think and translate. But here's the good news: this isn't permanent. Your brain is like a muscle, and we can train it to speak automatically. And in this episode, I'll share the psychological shifts and mental exercises that can break this barrier once and for all. Let me give you a real-life scenario. You're at a friend's dinner party. Someone asks you, "What do you like to do on weekends?" You understand it immediately. In your head, you know what you want to say. You like reading, going out with friends, maybe watching some shows. But your brain freezes. You can't find the words fast enough, and you end up just smiling or saying, I don't know." This happens because understanding lives in a passive memory zone, while speaking needs active memory. And because you haven't activated that memory enough times, it feels locked. But here's a mindset shift. Fluency isn't about knowing more words, it's about making the words you already know instantly available. That's why you might recognize 5,000 English words but can only comfortably use 1,000 of them. Another key psychological factor is fear of imperfection. Many learners silently think, "I need to make a perfect sentence before I speak." That's like trying to paint a masterpiece before you even pick up the brush. Speaking fluently comes from messy practice, not perfect sentences. The moment you let go of the idea of sounding perfect, your brain unlocks and words start flowing. And here's something most people don't realize. Your brain is wired for survival, not language learning. When you feel stressed or judged while speaking, your brain literally shifts into a defensive mode. It shuts down creativity and access to words. This is why speaking in front of others feels harder than talking to yourself. Now, imagine changing that pattern. Imagine training your brain to see speaking English not as a threat, but as a safe, playful activity. Imagine practicing in a way that builds speed, confidence, and automatic recall. That's what we're going to uncover together, and I promise it's possible for anyone, including you. So, let's keep going and start rewiring your brain to finally break this wall between understanding and speaking. Now that we've uncovered why you can understand English but can't speak it fluently, let's go deeper and actually build the skills and mental strength you need to break this cycle. Because knowing the reason isn't enough, we need to rewire your brain step by step, until speaking English feels as natural as understanding it. The first thing you need to understand is this. Speaking fluently is not about adding more information to your brain, it's about changing how your brain accesses what it already knows. You already have the vocabulary, you already understand grammar, but when you want to speak, your brain can't grab the words fast enough. This is a mental wiring issue, not a knowledge issue. Most learners fail to speak not because they can't, but because they freeze. Your brain senses danger, fear of judgment, fear of mistakes, fear of looking silly, and when that happens, it shuts down language output. Every time you feel that fear rising, tell yourself out loud, "Mistakes are my proof of learning." Every sentence I speak, even with errors, is rewiring my brain for fluency. This isn't just positive thinking, it's neuroscience. When you reduce the emotional threat of speaking, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for speech production, becomes more active, making it easier to recall words and form sentences. Imagine your brain as having two highways, one for understanding and one for speaking. Right now, the speaking highway is full of traffic jams because it's underused. The only way to clear it is through active recall training. Take a short podcast or video in English that you understand. After listening, don't repeat the exact sentences. Instead, describe it in your own words out loud, even if it's messy. Do this daily, focusing on speed, not perfection. This strengthens the neural connections responsible for speaking. The more you do it, the more automatic sentence building becomes. One of the biggest killers of fluency is translation. When you think in your native language and then translate, your brain has to stop, convert, and then produce. That's too slow. We need to train your brain to think in English chunks. A chunk is a group of words your brain treats as one. For example, at the end of the day, as far as I know. Or it's not worth it. When you master chunks, you no longer build sentences word by word, you pull out ready-made pieces. This is how native speakers talk fast without thinking about grammar. Every day, learn 3-5 chunks. Practice using them in mini stories about your life, and repeat them out loud until they feel natural. Your mouth has a kind of muscle memory. If you rarely speak, your lips, tongue, and even breathing patterns are untrained for English sounds. Here's a powerful daily ritual. Pick a simple topic, like your morning routine. Set a timer for 5 minutes and speak non-stop about it, even if you repeat yourself or make mistakes. This is called free speaking flow. Over time, it builds automatic speech production. You stop overthinking and start trusting your brain to deliver words. Science shows that when you mentally imagine yourself performing an action, your brain fires almost the same neural pathways as if you were doing it physically. This is why athletes visualize games before playing. You can do the same for English. Close your eyes and imagine being in a cafe in London. Visualize a friend asking you about your plans. Imagine yourself confidently answering in English. This mental imagery actually prepares your brain for real speaking situations, reducing anxiety and speeding up your response time when the moment comes. To speak fast, you need quick retrieval. Practice rapid-fire responses. Have someone ask you questions like, "What did you eat yesterday? What's your favorite movie? What would you do if it rained tomorrow?" Your goal is to answer immediately, even with broken grammar. The goal isn't perfection, it's training your brain to bypass hesitation and pull words instantly. Fluency isn't built by one long study session, it's built by many tiny speaking moments. Even if you're alone, talk to yourself in English when cooking, walking, or showering. For example, "I'm going to make some coffee now. After that, I'll check my messages." Or, "This weather feels nice. Maybe I'll go for a walk later." These little moments are low pressure, high frequency speaking practice. Over time, your brain learns that speaking English is normal, not stressful. Your brain also needs proof that you're improving to stay motivated. Start a speaking journal. Record a 1-minute voice note every day about any topic. Listen to your recordings weekly. You'll notice your pauses shrinking, your sentences flowing better. This visible progress builds confidence, which reduces fear, creating a powerful positive cycle. Many learners spend years thinking they just need more vocabulary or more grammar books to finally speak well. But that's not the truth. The real solution is mental rewiring and active speaking practice. Imagine this, a few months from now, you're in a conversation. Someone asks you a question, and before you even think, the words flow out naturally. No translation, no fear, no freezing. That's not a dream, it's exactly what happens when you train your brain the right way. And the best part? Once your brain unlocks speaking mode, everything else becomes easier. You'll understand movies more deeply, you'll think faster, and you'll finally feel free to express yourself fully in English. So here's my challenge for you, start today. Pick one technique, maybe free speaking flow, maybe chunking, maybe visualization, and do it daily. Train your brain like an athlete, because fluency is a skill you build, not a gift you wait for. Thank you for joining me today, my friends. If this episode inspired you, if it gave you hope that you can speak fluently, let me know in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe for more powerful lessons, and share this podcast with a friend who's also struggling to speak. Remember this, you already understand English, now it's time to set your voice free. Keep practicing, stay brave, and I'll see you in the next episode of English for Life podcast.